I don't even know if I'm gonna share it. Hey garden maters, welcome to Corner Homestead. So it is the day before Halloween, and here I am back in the kitchen where I usually am, getting ready to make something that's pretty simple because I just don't feel like doing a whole lot. Been a little under the weather the past couple of weeks, but today I am making a creamy tortellini soup. Sure to be delicious. It's been a while since I've made it. Just came across the recipe again and realized it's been quite a few years since I made this. So it's about time I do. So as usual, bringing you along for the ride, hoping to inspire you to make it as well. Sure to please, delicious for the witchy tummies. So if you decide to make this, let me show you what you're going to need. Okay, so for this recipe you do need a few ingredients, but all in all, not too bad, and probably nothing you would not already have on hand. Now I use 1 pound of sausage. Just got it out of the freezer. Used to leave it frozen there. So 1 pound of sausage, doesn't matter if it's mild or hot, whatever you like. I do have the mild Italian sausage that I'm going to be using. If you don't want to use sausage, you can use ground pork, ground beef, probably even ground chicken. But whatever you decide to use, you need at least 1 pound. You're going to need carrots. I'm just going to use 1 large carrot, but you can use 1 large or 2 small or medium carrots. 2 stalks of celery, 1 onion, and we're going to chop this up pretty fine. This is quite a large onion, but onion always makes things taste better. I will use the entire onion in this recipe. You will need at least 4 garlic cloves. I never have garlic cloves, so as always I'm just going to use my minced garlic, put in a couple teaspoons of that. Going to need some beef bouillon, going to need some beef stock, also going to use some of the onion soup mix, 1 packet of that. I'll be putting in a little bit of my complete seasoning. You know how much I love this stuff. If you follow me on this channel, you will know how much I just love this stuff. But I'm going to be using this. If you don't have this on hand, you will need to put at least a tablespoon or so of Italian seasoning into it, depending on your taste, of course. A little bit of salt, a little bit of cornstarch mixed in water to make a slurry. Now the recipe does call for evaporated milk or half and half, so I do have evaporated milk. I will be using that today. You're going to need some baby spinach or any kind of fresh spinach. So the recipe calls for 5 cups of baby spinach, fresh spinach. I didn't buy that. I went ahead and bought the 8-ounce package of curly leaf spinach from Giant. I just picked this up at the store yesterday. Any spinach you have will be fine. This will be the very last ingredient that goes in. And of course, you're going to need your cheese tortellini. Recipe does call for a 12-ounce package of 3 cheese tortellini. Couldn't find a 3 cheese, but I did find a very large, over 2-pound package of cheese tortellini. This is just from Save-A-Lot. So I'll be using at least half of this bag into the recipe. Gotta have your tortellini. So this recipe can be done into a slow cooker or a crock pot. Not going to do that because I don't have the time today. So if you decide to do it into the slow cooker, you follow the recipe exactly as I'm getting ready to do it for the stove top. So you would cook it on low for up to 8 hours total, or on high for nearly 5 hours total. It's getting late. I don't have that kind of time today, so just going to do it on the stove because it can be done. That's how I've always done it. So let me get these vegetables chopped, and I'll show you exactly how to put this together. It's going to be witchily delicious. So the first thing I'm going to add into my pot is my sausage. Now you'll see I took the casings off and I went ahead and sliced them. So I'm just going to add these in. I want to give it time to brown up just a little bit. So we'll give this a few minutes, keep stirring it around and get it just browned a little bit. Okay, so this has been cooking now for about 5 minutes, and it's not much at all left in the pink. You just want it to be brown. Now, if you're going to do this in a slow cooker, you would take this out now and add it to your slow cooker. Otherwise, we're going to add our onions and our carrots. Get it all in there. And our celery. I wish you could smell this. It's divine. Going to go ahead and add about 2 teaspoons of garlic. And again, I'm just using the minced garlic. If you don't have this and you're using fresh garlic, you would use 4 cloves of garlic. So I have 4 cups of beef stock. I'm going to add that into it. You would also put your Italian seasoning in now. It's about a tablespoon. So again, I'm going to use the complete seasoning, and I'm also going to use about a tablespoon. I'm going to add 4 more cups of water. The 1 pack of the Lipton onion mix. Got my 4 beef bouillon cubes. Going to drop those in. And just a little bit of salt it calls for. Why, I don't know, because you have all those other flavors. And this is it for this part of it. We're going to put the lid on. And this is where you're going to let it cook. Now on the stove, I'm going to let this go for at least 2 hours on a low to medium type fire. We just want it to simmer. We don't want it to boil too much. Now if you're doing this in a slow cooker, you would let this go on low for 7 hours or on high for 4 hours. Stove is much quicker, but it's still going to take a few hours. So we'll let this cook. After about 2 hours, I'll be back. Okay, so it has been 2 hours. So I've added 4 more cups of beef stock and 4 more cups of water, along with 2 more beef bouillon cubes. But you can see the onions are cooked, the carrots and the celery are soft. That's the way we want it. Doesn't look like a lot in here vegetable wise, but it's okay because it's going to start to get really, really good. So I have my 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. I'm going to add in the whole can. I'm going to give it a little shake as I do it. Make sure I get everything out of there. This is what's going to make it really creamy. If you don't have the evaporated milk, just use half and half. And of course, if you have none of that either, just use regular milk. It's all going to turn out in the end. I've got a 1/4 cup of cornstarch along with a 1/4 cup of water. We're going to add that into it. Going to give it a little bit of thickness. You want to stir it around really well. It's not only a really good soup, it's also really pretty. And now we're going to take our cheese tortellini, and I'm going to add half of this big bag. We really like the tortellini. I am actually going to add extra. A little bit extra. Why I say, always make it your own. Put in the flavors you like, as much sausage you like, as much tortellini you like. Always make it your own. And now we put the lid back on. We're going to let this cook on the stove for at least another 30 minutes. If you have it in the slow cooker, you would let it cook for another 45 minutes. We'll give it a peek in just a half hour because we're not quite done with it yet. So you cook it just long enough now for the soup to thicken a little bit. If you need to add more cornstarch slurry, feel free. Just want it to thicken just a little bit, not too much. It's not a stew, it's just a thicker soup. And of course, to get the cheese tortellini soft and well cooked. So just one more step. So it has been cooking now for about 35 minutes on the stove. So now the tortellini is soft and they are definitely cooked through. It's time for our spinach. So I'm going to take this entire bag of spinach. This has been triple washed spinach, so just going to go ahead and add it into the soup. And of course you know it's going to wilt down to nothing. So now all we do is cook this for another 5 to 10 minutes, just long enough for our spinach to wilt. You don't even have to keep the flame on very long because you know the heat of the soup is going to wilt it down and cook that spinach in no time. If you need to add more milk or cream, this is where you would do it. In the crock pot as well. If you're doing it in the crock pot, you would still cook this for only 5 or 10 more minutes on high until this spinach is completely wilted. Now, of course, if you happen to watch the video back when I dehydrated my lettuce and then I rehydrated it, told you how much it tasted like spinach, it could probably work right here in this recipe. Maybe. Just a thought. So here it is. After just 5 to 10 minutes, our spinach is wilted and cooked. And this soup is done. So we're going to turn it off and serve it up. Sausage and tortellini and oh, such goodness. There it is, Garden Maters. Like I say, if you want it thick, it depends on how thick you want it. If you want it like a stew, just add more cornstarch slurry. So of course, you know I gotta do it. Oh, that is so good. The taste of the sausage is completely through the soup. And I gotta do a tortellini. Gotta do a piece of that. That's a little hotter. Mmm. Absolutely no tricks. All treat. I came across the recipe the other day when I was looking through my cookbook, and handwritten, of course. It's a handwritten recipe that I had gotten from somebody years and years ago. When I saw the recipe, I was like, yes, please. I realized it had been so long since I made it, I just had to do it because it is delicious. Now, of course, I made a big pot of this just because I love it so much. You can freeze it if you want to make this much and you're not going to eat it anytime soon. Feel free to freeze it. It freezes beautiful. And then you just take it back out and heat it up, and you've got the soup for any time that you want it. But again, delicious. Absolutely worth taking the time to make. Would be really good to serve it with some warm, crusty bread. I didn't make any of that. I should have made that today, but it's okay. So again, I hope I encourage you to try the soup. It is really good, and I don't think that you're going to be disappointed if you make it. And as I always say, make it your own. Give it the flavors that you like. I just give you the basic recipe. But the flavors are always up to the individual garden mater. So make it the way you like. Give it your own flavors, your own signature to the meal, as I would say. And just make it your own. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me in my kitchen as usual. So I hope you have a very nice Halloween. I hope it isn't too spooky for you, but just spooky enough. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Love to see the garden majors grow. Love to have you as part of the community. Until next time, I love y'all. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you on the next video. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. And trust me, one bowl is enough because, oh my Lord, those tortellinis are so filling. I ate about 10 tortellinis. I think I'm going to explode for Halloween. Ooh. I might explode, Shimobi. Happy Halloween, garden maters.